What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim, back with another video, and today we are talking about PlayStation and the E3 2018 conference. The we, of course, is my dog Chloe down here, but more importantly, my wife Rachel. How are you doing today, Rachel?
Doing great. Very excited for E3. How about you, Jim?
The E3 hype is so real. I have been following so many websites, NeoGAF and Reset Era, and just so many places, Reddit. I'm so excited. Now, there have been a lot of leaks. We don't know which ones are real and which ones are not.
So, I guess for me this year, I'm almost a little bit disappointed that there have been so many pre-E3 announcements. It almost dilutes the impact of E3. I like that hype, that E3 excitement, and it almost seems like for the last month, we've been getting leaks or confirmations of leaks or announcements. It's almost like people want to beat the E3 hype.
But at what cost?
But yeah. And so
I agree.
I'm a little disappointed this year.
So I guess the big question is to what level, hi Chloe. The big question is to what level are they willing to go to almost hijack themselves? And PlayStation, out of all of them, is the biggest culprit. Before we get into that too much, I figure let's go back a little bit and talk about 2017. 2017, I thought PlayStation had a pretty solid year. That was the year of additional trailers, kind of like they did the year prior.
That was kind of like the build-up year, if you will. So we've announced a lot of great games that are coming.
Right.
And here's your second or your third look at them.
Correct. Now, a lot of people didn't like that. They said, oh my God, like this again, like how many more times do we have to see Death Stranding and Spider-Man and Last of Us and Days Gone? The only really new thing they announced last year, major title stuff, Moss was a big new announcement.
Moss was a big one.
And Ghost of Tsushima. Those were the two big announcements or things that nobody knew was coming.
And they announced quite a few PSVR games.
They did. There was a lot of PSVR games.
Which was good because they're trying to get people to buy into that ecosystem. So we really enjoyed Moss. Great game.
They did announce that PlayStation VR did not sell the way they wanted it to. So we'll talk about that. We'll keep that in mind when we get to that part of when we discuss this. I thought PlayStation last year was good. I'm ready for some new stuff. In light of the fact that PlayStation announced that, hey, 2021 is kind of the end of the platform at sundown, a lot of people are speculating they're not going to be a lot of new things because they're kind of building down the hype for PlayStation 4. And like you're not going to see a God of War. That'll be like God of War 2 will be a PlayStation 5 launch title. So they won't even mention it until they're ready to announce the hardware. So there's a lot of talks about that. Nobody knows if that's true, obviously. Everything's rumor and speculation. Except this. This is the factual podcast / YouTube video that's going to definitize and be 100% accurate. Our predictions have been spot on since the beginning of time, as far as I can personally recall.
Of course.
So I thought PlayStation did a good conference last year. This year, I think I'm not entirely sure what to expect. They came out, they being Sean Layton, came out on the PlayStation blog podcast, and then there was also a blog by Ryan Clements, who talked about the fact that PlayStation was going to be focusing on their 4 major games that we've already announced. Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, 2 others. The Last of Us, and Spider-Man.
Yes.
And they said these are going to be like kind of the focus of this show. And nobody knew what that meant.
So to me,
and we still don't.
I guess if that's what it is, I'm going to be slightly disappointed because those are games that don't really need the additional hype.
I agree 1,000%.
People want those games. They want to play those games. I mean, literally, you could announce a release date and the theater will go nuts.
And that's the thing, you look at a company like Rockstar that does such a great job. Rockstar has only shown 2 one-minute trailers of Red Dead Redemption 2. And people are losing their minds. So, yes. And the game speaks for itself. A Hideo Kojima game speaks for itself. A Sucker Punch game speaks for itself. Spider-Man doesn't need to. Days Gone don't need to because we've seen it so many times.
And Last of Us 2. No.
Right.
Needs no, I mean,
I agree,
anybody who played the first one is just...
We're ready. You don't
Here, take my money.
Pretty much.
So... E3 is a great opportunity to show off and throw something out there that people might not otherwise get, or they might not see it, or it might not interest them. But you show them a trailer of something that's exciting and new, and suddenly the interest is there.
So PlayStation has been doing this kind of 3-year burn on games. You'll see a very high level, not even gameplay, just a high level like story type cinematic trailer.
Wow. It's the wow factor.
Right.
The wow announcement.
Like, oh my God, they're coming out with game X. Then the second year is additional. Then the second year is the first time we see gameplay.
Yep.
And then the third year is the time we see more gameplay with the release date.
Yes.
So you see a lot of these games, it's like, oh, what are we going to see this year? So some of these games have been going on for quite a while where it's like, what else can you really show us? We've seen a lot of the mechanics. Spider-Man's a perfect example. You've seen the exploration part of it, where he's swinging around the city.
Yep.
You've seen the combat part of it. You've seen the stealth part of it. Like, what else could they show you that really you haven't seen? The only thing I can think specific to Spider-Man, maybe this is a bad example, the collector edition, we don't know who. Spider-Man's on top of a cage.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Brent about this. The collector edition has some name on it, like Frank or something. But it's like the Asylum. It's like Arkham Asylum, but Spider-Man Land.
But
we don't know who's in the cage. So that's the only thing I could think that would be like, oh, the big villain's going to be Venom or Octopus or, somebody like Dr. Octopus, somebody like that.
But who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm still buying the game regardless of who the villain is.
I agree. So that's the only thing I can think.
Collector edition pre-ordered.
Boom. So that's the only thing. Thanks, Gamer Club Unlocked, for the little bit you're going to do for us for the next 4 months.
Let's not go there.
So maybe that's a bad example. That's something that people might be interested in. But again, you're right. It's not going to actually sway an opinion either way.
It's not gonna make me go out and buy the PlayStation because I would have already made that decision based on the Spider-Man console that's coming out, based on all of those things. So that's already done.
So PlayStation, if you recall, early on in their life cycle, very, very beginning of PlayStation 4, they didn't have a lot of stuff. If you remember, PlayStation 3 kind of ended on a whimper, although I think number-wise they actually caught up to Xbox 360. I don't know what the final numbers were, but it was a lot closer. There was a long period of time with the 22-day PlayStation outage and losing our information and all that horrible stuff that happened. But they did kind of redeem themselves towards the end. But going into PlayStation 4, if you recall, the first couple months of PlayStation Plus, where they started giving away free games, they really heavily relied on indies. You remember the first few games we played on PlayStation? The first game we ever played was Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and that was a PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 port. So it wasn't really taking advantage of PlayStation 4 horsepower. And then we had Contrast and Resogun, and that was really it for a while.
But I was very excited about Contrast. I really was.
I was too.
It was fun. It was a fun game, and I was excited.
But my point is, they relied a lot on indies to get them through these lulls. Now, I don't think PlayStation right now in any means is in a lull. I think they are killing it. Look at the lineup. Look at the amount of amazing first-party games we've played over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yes, and again, last year they gave us the DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn. So they've had a lot of great games that were exclusive to PlayStation.
Agreed.
Which to me is what is selling their consoles.
Agreed.
So I think PlayStation needs to do more of that. Bring the games.
So I think that I think they're going to lean back. I think you're going to see, like, we had indie games, then a lot of really good first-party games, and then we ended on indie games. I think you're going to see a lot more indie games than people expect this year. I think you're going to see a lot more third-party games that are going to take a lot more chances on these little indie experiences because they've basically told you what you can expect out of the last years of your PlayStation 4. They've already told you, listen, Death Stranding will probably be it, and Death Stranding may even be a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 crossover title. The game's really far out, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong. I think it's very far out. So I think they're going to start filling in. I think you're going to see the PlayStation of old again, where they're going to say, hey, listen, Call of Duty's coming out, but we got an exclusive agreement with them. Batman or the next Rocksteady game, which I hope Superman, we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out Rocksteady's making a Superman. They're going to come out with another game, and we're going to give you the exclusive stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2, the best place to play, PlayStation 4. So I think you're going to see a lot of that, and you're going to sprinkle in the indie games, and I think that's what this conference is going to start transitioning into. I see the next few years phasing out with the big stuff, and we're going to start bringing in the little stuff to show you why PlayStation is still a great place to be.
So I think that PlayStation still has at least one or two either AAA games that are coming out, either new IPs or sequels to games we've already seen. It's 2018.
Yeah, you still have...
2021 is 3 years away. If they have started and worked their development cycle the way that they should be, there are some games that should be coming. Naughty Dog. We've ended Uncharted. What else are you bringing me? Bring me something else.
Well, Last of Us 2, but
Yes, but
but they do have two studios,
Right,
so they've
so-
always worked in parallel.
right,
so what
so-
would you expect to see? Okay.
So what am I getting? Because it's been a while, it's been some time. We should have at least the oh my gosh, wow moment coming this year.
And to me, I feel like it's going to be Last of Us, maybe with a DLC the following year, and then you're not going to see them again until the big system seller PlayStation 5 game.
See, and I think they've got time.
You think
to
they have
pull-
time to squeeze? See, I am leaning more towards lots of indies, lots of third-party exclusives. You're saying that they can tighten up the development cycle on a couple more games and sneak out a few more like home runs right before it's
I
over.
think they can get a couple more out.
Okay.
I think they need to take advantage of the momentum they have here, and if they go out on a whimper, they're gonna.
So
PlayStation 5 starts out the same way PlayStation 4 did. I need this. Why?
I understand. So two games specifically that come to mind immediately. We have not seen anything from Software in a while. We haven't seen a sequel to Bloodborne. They showed a very brief trailer, and I mean 3 words, Shadows Die Twice. That's all it said. And everybody knew it was something, some From Software, another Dark Souls game, some sort of remaster. We don't know.
Yep.
That will be I'm pretty confident that will be a PlayStation exclusive. And Media Molecule has not yet given us Dreams, which this game has been in development for 500,000 billion trillion years. I haven't seen that yet either. So
Okay.
there's at least 2 more, I would say, that are kind of floating in there. So if you're including the 4 big ones that they already announced, plus those 2, you're talking 6 games over 3 years, which, considering those are probably going to be AAA console exclusives, that's probably where they're going to end up. Now, you say there still may be another 1 or 2 in there. I hope you're right. I hope they don't just pull a Nintendo on us and just drop like the Nintendo or the Wii or the Wii U. They just, we're done.
PlayStation 5's coming in 2021, so when you want to play PlayStation again,
Bye-bye.
come
Yeah,
on back.
Right. I'm not saying they'll do that, but I'm not as confident as you as we're going to see a lot more home runs. And I hope I'm wrong. But I'm going into this conference with lower than normal expectations, only because I feel like PlayStation has positioned themselves in a really strong position, but PlayStation historically does not keep the momentum going. And I'm worried that they're going to rest on their laurels and say, look at this great library we have, and it's going to be a lot of past tense. And we're not going to see a lot between now and then. And I think PlayStation, if they're not careful, they're going to get caught sleeping at the wheel.
So let's talk about a couple of things that I think PlayStation needs to do.
Tell me what you want to see.
So,
what makes this conference rock it out?
PlayStation has the PSVR.
They
Right?
do, yes.
We got it. I
do.
think to this point it has been underutilized.
I would agree 1,000%.
I think they need to have a huge VR game. Skyrim VR was exciting,
It was. It's fun.
but come on, really? I'm playing a PlayStation 3 game on VR?
And it looks like a PlayStation 2 game on VR, believe it or not. It's not even... 3 would be... I would take a PlayStation 3 game on VR and be like, whoa. I mean, it is limited in what it can do.
But I say that because I played Skyrim on my PlayStation 3.
I do
So
recall this.
why am I...
I do recall we did play it.
So I'm coming back, and so I would love
Mm-hmm.
to see a huge VR lineup
What-
of games.
You want a brand-
not VR experiences.
Do you want a new game or do you want a port?
I th-
Obviously, in a perfect world, you want everything. I get that. Would you be more excited for a brand new, like a Farpoint type shooter, which was really fun, but basic, but fun? Or would you want a Fallout 3 port or another port of a legit Doom port, another Doom VFR that had a horrible control scheme?
Yeah,
Like, what would you...
I want a new game.
You want something brand new? You want a single player, multiplayer?
So I'm a fan of single player games.
I have become that way now, too.
I like single player games better than I like multiplayer games.
Hashtag save player one.
Yes. So I mostly play single player games. I like the story. I like an action adventure game. Give me something on the VR that I can do that way.
I agree.
And that's what, in order to utilize that hardware, I think that PlayStation needs to come with a solid VR lineup. Now, obviously, as they've told us this week, they are starting with announcements each day, and they have a big,
They have
what
two
they say
VR announcements.
are
Two.
big VR announcements.
A brand new game and a much anticipated port is what it says.
Okay, so that would that hopefully will satisfy my need for some VR games, but I think they need to focus on that, because otherwise they've made this hardware, and quite honestly, it's pretty good. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty good. But they haven't really utilized it. They've given us a bunch of experiences.
I agree.
You know, Moss was good. It was still a little bit shorter than I would have liked. However, I personally can only play a VR game for 2 or 3 hours before I have to take a break and do something else.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, VR isn't for everyone. They did say VR was a gamble, and in a sense, the people who got it knew what we were getting into. Early adopters. It might not pan out. Hey, it's kind of expensive. Maybe you like it. Maybe you don't. Maybe games. You think of the Wii or the Wii U, and hey, we're making this crazy elaborate hardware. The games will come, and they never did.
Yep.
So, in a sense, PlayStation is going to have to kind of pick up the slack. They have a lot of great studios. Obviously, Media Molecule's Dreams is solely based on VR.
Yep.
So I expect you would probably see something with that. But I agree with you, going back to your earlier point, I do agree with you. I hope that it is not just more of, I hope there's more to it. I hope they're not resting on their laurels and saying, hey, we gave you VR, you got a couple of games, here's one more. I'd like them to bring a couple more games, a couple more new things to VR to really kind of like flesh out the library just a little more than they've done. And I think they could send it off on a good note that way. And I'd be okay with that.
Yep.
I wouldn't feel... honestly, to me, the second I put on that headset and I played Skyrim, if I never bought another PlayStation VR game, to me, honestly, that game sold me on VR, and I loved it. And if and when PlayStation 5 has VR, I would totally consider it because of the amount of fun I've had. Not that I play VR very often lately, but when I was really into playing Skyrim and walking around, even with the pop-ins, even with the blurry textures, it's so realistic.
So you want to play Skyrim again on your PS5
Skyrim
VR hardware?
The ultimate edition of the ultimate edition. Skyrim U squared. Okay.
So what else do I want to see from PlayStation? So Xbox has done a great job of bringing in their backwards compatibility and having games that you can play. Now Xbox has always had what I'll say is a superior online gaming system.
I agree. I think Xbox Live is a fantastic service, which is head and shoulders above PlayStation's network. 100%.
So I would like to see PlayStation start to bring some of that backwards compatibility in.
Would you? Okay, so
do I think it's going to happen? No, but that to me is an area where they are really lacking.
Is that something you feel is a check in the box, or is that for you, or is that something that you really eagerly want to dive back into a PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 game?
There are games that I would like to dive back into.
Can you name one? Without looking around.
Yes, Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
I knew you were going to say that. That game sucked.
I loved that game. I played both of them, and I loved it.
You did, and they were both crap. And I don't know why you played that garbage. There's so many better games out there. Okay, I see what you're saying. But I will agree with you that I think it's a big misstep when you look at Xbox's Game Pass, when you look at their backward compatibility, and you look at how their hardware handles it so well. Upscaling games to 4K, 60 frames a second, smoother, richer, more enriched gameplay.
But
PlayStation
also,
should be able to do that too.
It also allows them to have a larger game library without actually going through the development cycle.
I agree. You're 100% right.
So you can get a whole lot more games with a lot less effort.
That's true.
And so think about it. You want to go play your favorite, PlayStation 2 game. Okay.
Smuggler's Run. I saw you look over your shoulder.
No. I was looking over.
You were like trying to figure out like which game.
No. I was looking because I wanted to point out that we have them displayed down here.
We do.
So for me, that means now I have to go pull it out. I have to pull my TV out. I have to dig it out, and I have to put it in.
Dynasty Warriors 3 all the way for life.
But I'm not going to do that.
I agree with what you're saying. It's a convenience thing that if it was there, you would probably use it more than you do.
Yes.
I've heard PlayStation's infrastructure is so vastly different from system to system that that's almost impossible. I have no idea. You think I work in software or something? I don't know. But I will say that to me, I agree with you. I would like to see that. I'm not convinced. PlayStation, recall way back when they bought Gaikai, and they were all about the streaming. You remember everything was going to be streamed, and you could play PlayStation 3 games on your cell phone while you're on the toilet or in the subway, in the train, wherever you want to be. And it never took off. And the PlayStation Now subscription service is really dead on arrival. Nobody uses it. They don't talk about it. I get monthly/weekly tweets from Xbox. Hey, here's the next batch of Game Pass games.
Yep.
Hurry up and buy them. Hurry up and download them. Come get the service. Let's go. I never hear PlayStation like, hey, we're going to sweeten the pot. We just added game X to our service because it's not a really good picture. It's a little laggy, a little fuzzy. It's very network dependent. And if you have Sprint like we do, good luck getting a signal outside of anywhere that is Wi-Fi. So they took that route, and I think that really failed hard for them. But I agree with you. What better way to cut their losses and somehow repackage that as a backward compatibility service? And I think you're right. That'd be awesome. I would like that. I think that'd be a really exciting thing. Do you think we will be able to change our names this year?
Not happening.
Never will happen?
Not with this generation.
Sean Layton said last year that by E3 this year. No, it was by PlayStation Experience. We still have till like November.
Okay.
To figure it out. Me personally, I'm Viper Magic. I don't care. I'm not changing it. I'm happy. I wouldn't necessarily want to change my name, and I won't. But for others, I know it's a very hot topic. So you're saying no. I agree with you. I don't think it's happening. They don't care. And their infrastructure is so bad, I don't think they know how to do it.
I was going to say, I don't think they can support it.
I don't either. I don't think they can either.
So maybe with the PlayStation 5...
You just make a new account. Start over. You just wipe it. Trophy, schmofy, clean slate, new guy, new game.
You want a new name? Buy a new name.
What? I agree with you. I think, to me, I feel like we're going to see a lot of indie games. I hope there's a lot of VR stuff. PlayStation Vita is dead.
And has been.
It has been dead. I don't think
while.
you'll see Gio come out in his hockey jersey and like, hey, everybody, play. It's coming now on PlayStation. I think that's over.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Do you think they're going to keep it a traditional press conference, or they're going to keep kind of the style they've had where it's just lots of demos and like nobody comes like Sean Layton comes out, welcome to PlayStation, I'll see you in an hour. And then you just watch an hour of like boom, boom. Or do you think it's going to be like, hi, my name's George. I worked on this game. Kind of like what Ubisoft did last year. Because that had a lot of people resonated with the Ubisoft press conference where the developers came out, tearing up on stage. We talked about this at the end of God of War, how Corey owned that game. And he lived it from day one to the end. Seeing those guys on stage, a passion project, I think could do a lot of these games good service.
I don't know that they need that.
So you think it's just going to be the straight old, hey, we're going to have an orchestra or something. Sean Layton's going to come out, hey, everybody, have a good night. And then you're just going to watch an hour. Nobody's talking. It's just video after video after video. That's what you're thinking.
I just don't. Most of the games that PlayStation has, they stand on their own. They don't need
somebody.
They don't need the developer to hype them. They don't need you to see that passion behind it because the game is that good. I mean, think about it. Would God of War been any different had you had Corey come out and talk about it? Would it have been more impactful, more meaningful?
No, that's a good point. You're right. I just think that if there are other games out there, maybe breaking it up and talking about some of those development challenges and hurdles maybe would break up the just like, oh, not another Spider-Man trailer. Maybe them talking about it would somehow liven up the discussion.
So
because it does seem like we're on the verge of being stale at this point.
To me, that's a marketing ploy for a game that people don't already want.
Okay. So
if you can present me with a game and a trailer that is exciting enough or tugs at my heartstrings enough, like Shadow of the Colossus, I don't need any more brought to that than
gotcha.
what it is.
So you let the game speak for itself,
unless it can't.
Okay.
And I think if you look at some of the Ubisoft games, they didn't speak for themselves.
Gotcha. So Crew 2 wouldn't have been great unless some guy came on and talked about how much Crew 1 was garbage and how they went back to the drawing board and blah, blah, blah. So you feel like Death Stranding, you don't need Kojima coming out going, hey, I really like making games. Because we're like, hey, bro, we know.
And not only that, but the people who want that game, all you had to do was put a title up, Kojima, sold.
Gotcha. I'm with you. Okay.
So don't sell us too much. Let it sell itself. That's what has been successful for PlayStation in the past. I don't think they need to change their formula.
Well, this is what makes this so interesting with this year of them coming out and saying, hey, here's what we're going to be doing. That's what makes it so weird and so different. That's like, well, we kind of knew those were the games anyway, but the way he spun it, it almost made it sound like you were going to get that PlayStation experience where the cast of Uncharted was going to come out and sit down for an hour and talk to you guys about the experiences they had in the photo booth. And you're like, I don't really care.
It honestly makes me a little nervous because PlayStation has had, at least the last 2 years, very strong conferences.
Yes.
They've had very strong press announcements. It's been game after game after game after game. And I've left feeling, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And it's invigorates.
I can't wait for what PlayStation has to show me for the rest of this year.
It invigorates the base, and everyone rallies, and woo, yep, I'm with you.
And we're all drinking the Kool-Aid. We're on the hype.
Our $15 gift card and getting our free DLC to
we are on the
Dreadnought and
we are on the hype train.
Those other throwaway indie games that we get.
We're on the hype train.
With our free lanyard, our lanyard and our posters and our cuffs, and we're all like, yeah. Okay, so I
like it.
Okay, and the fact that they're bringing it to the theater is cool. Something we're going to try to go again, too. Yep. I'm excited for that.
Yep, the theater has always been it's been a lot of fun. You know, you get to sit with other people. You get to see the reactions.
Including one potential PlayStation, soon-to-be Sony pony, Brent Casina.
Maybe. We'll see what
you gotta look at the camera. Look right there.
We'll see what version of the PlayStation he buys.
Look right in that camera and say, Mandy, get this man a PlayStation. Remember in Wakanda, what's the dude's name? The Black Panther? Get this man a shield. And it's like, oh my god! Mandy, get this man a PlayStation. Okay? So we'll see. But he'll be there, I'll be there, you'll be there. Yep. It's gonna be 200 of our best friends. It's really exciting. Okay, so talked about where it was, where we want it to be. Now, the question you knew I was going to ask you is, will you marry me? Okay, wait, I'm just kidding. The question I wanted to ask you is...
That's a first.
This is true. Yes. What is your, oh my God, claw your eyes out, this is the coolest thing ever, Jesus take the wheel, I'm ready to die announcement?
You know, I don't even know. So right now, I am still so hyped up off of God of War.
God of War was so good.
Just a flash of that, and I would be
again, just like one more time. Like,
no, the
like, hey, one more time. Here's the intro scene. It's Kratos, and then just
the sequel, just so that you know they're working on it.
Oh, like see you in 6 years.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be that long, but...
It took him 5+ years for number one. Well, 4, but 1, because they don't know how to count in gaming.
So, again, I'm not sure.
For me, initially, my go-to answer is always, give me that sweet Pro controller. But it is clear after this latest weird debacle that Scuff is now in bed with Nikon and that other company. All these companies throwing out the officially licensed PlayStation DualShock 4 Pro, whatever's. It's clear to me that Sony does not care. I've given up on caring.
I don't think it's that they don't care.
They don't know how to do it.
They are not interested in doing it themselves.
It's clear that they are not interested in hardware in general because that PlayStation 4 we have sounds like a bus is taking, like, or an airplane.
It sounds like I'm in an airplane when it gets spun up.
It's so frustrating. I don't understand it. So, in a dream announcement, my ultimate hype announcement, they say, look, and I know this isn't going to happen, but my other convoluted announcement where I was trying to say Kojima's making Metal Gear Solid, see, I already screwed it up again. Kojima's making Halo 6 for my Xbox announcement. My dream PlayStation announcement, they come out on stage and say, listen, we have a list of everybody who bought a PlayStation 4 Pro. They suck. We are sorry. We're making new ones, and we're overnighting them to you right now. Okay, I doubt that'll happen.
Okay,
That'd still be cool as hell.
So you want to hear my ultimate?
But I'll really give you my ultimate, but you go ahead.
My ultimate
Go ahead.
is
Yes.
we have bought the rights to Eternal Darkness.
That's a good one.
We are not only making a port of the original that you can play on your PlayStation 4, and it runs better on the Pro.
Ooh, that was a great game. That was a great game.
But
we
are coming up with the sequel that the Kickstarter campaign failed on.
We're going to do it right.
We're going to do it right. We're going to fully fund it. And it is coming out on PlayStation 4.
Kojima has re-whetted our appetite with the hard-to-find PT demo. And we realize survival horror is in. And thus, bam. I like that. That's a really good one.
That's my ultimate. And most people who know me will know that I am an Eternal Darkness fan.
The problem with PlayStation and the ultimate announcement, in my opinion, is they've done so well. It's kind of a weird place to be in. It's almost like they're too good. I know it sounds ultra fanboyism, and trust me, it is, because I am a Sony pony. But it's almost like you've done perfect so many times. We would expect nothing less, but the perfection is almost boring now. But it's like you're going to have to throw a 50 touchdown game, because if you throw 49, it's just not good enough. And if you throw an interception, it's like you know better. So I feel like Sony has almost done like too good. So I think I'm going through my head of all the PlayStation experiences that I have had, and all the games I've played, and all the cool characters I've met, and just running down a laundry list. And I'm like, man, they've really done service to all their old games. Like, they really have done service to... Although you can argue Second Son wasn't the best, I really enjoyed Second Son. I thought it was a really fun game. So you're like, okay, we got the infamous superhero thing checked. It's like, okay, well, Metal Gear, phenomenal. Obviously, that's not a PlayStation thing, but it ran so good on PlayStation. Okay. God of War. You got the new IP with Horizon Zero Dawn. You had Bloodborne, Order 1886, which people liked or didn't. I thought Order 1886 was fine.
Yeah.
Don't know if we're going to see a sequel. That's really not up to PlayStation.
You had Dishonored.
You
have... you had Uncharted.
Yeah.
Well,
Dishonored, to be fair, Dishonored was Bethesda. We played it on...
But there have been so many good games
have
come out.
You're right.
That it's...
That run really well on PlayStation. That when the Pro came out, they ran really well. But if I had to pick one, I would like to see them attempt another... It's already something they've done. Just try again. I really did like the PlayStation Battle AllStars. I think their library of PlayStation exclusive characters has grown immensely. I would love to see almost not a side-scrolling fighter, more like a Diablo type arena, like isometric view fighter.
Okay.
Or your beloved Marvel heroes. But throw the PlayStation guys in there. Throw a dash of Power Stone 2. Throw in a dash of Super Smash Brothers. And give us a game in which the hunter from Bloodborne can fight against Kratos, or Atreus can tag in Parappa the Rapper. Like, try it again and make it more environmental. Have them fight on Katamari Damacy's first stage. Have them fight on, I don't know, something. But like how Blizzard said Heroes of the Storm is kind of a celebration. It's Blizzard the game.
Yep.
And it's like, this is a culmination of our life's work, our most beloved characters in one place. I would love to see PlayStation try that again. If you think about the library of exclusives, of unique experiences that are on PlayStation, I really feel like there's a really deep library there to really draw on it and really give it the service it deserves. Like, you could have the entire Uncharted cast in there. This game could be like 300 characters big. Don't just have Nathan Drake. Throw in Sully. Throw in Chloe. Throw in, I mean, just like, throw in the brother. Throw in whoever you want. Any of them. Throw in Sam. Throw in Elaine.
How about Elena?
Elena. Any of them. It just, I feel like you could do that and it would be like, okay, that's a really cool idea. And it's like, I don't feel like it's that hard to do if you just take time and like really make the levels fun, make the power-ups meaningful. Like, you look at Smash and you look through each of the items and it gives you this nice laundry list of like, the Fire Flower first appeared in 1981. But put that in this game. So that's my dream. I highly doubt they'll do it because PlayStation AllStars did not sell well. I have bad memories of that game because that was when I was playing and like my tooth flaked off.
Yes.
That was the game. I never played it again. And just thinking about it made me think about that moment. I don't want it now. No, I'm going to talk like this. My teeth. Like, but seriously, all kidding aside, to me, that's my dream announcement. If I saw something like that, that's a great way to send it off. Hey, look, here's all the games we made, and we're going to do one more. We're going to bring it all together, and we're going to send off the PlayStation 4, in honor.
So what about a mobile PlayStation experience?
So a cell phone game?
No. Instead of the PlayStation experience being based in Vegas, they have a mobile one.
Oh, they did do the bus, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
I see what
you're okay. It wasn't a true experience.
Okay, so you're saying they drive around and they what? We're gonna do a world tour.
Yes,
and they're coming to Orlando, not like freaking Miami or Georgia.
I'm good.
It's close.
Put them in central locations. Bring the new PlayStation games
to me. Quit having them in California. Yes, we need to move to California. We really need to move to California. That's where I told you that's my favorite place to live. I want to die there. I love California. That's where we need to be.
That can be arranged.
Murder me or something? Is you sharp? But that could be arranged. We could kill you right now in front of the 8 viewers that are going to watch this video. All right, so okay,
so
that would be fun. That would really be cool.
I mean, they're talking this year about how they want you to get a more in-depth experience about these games. They want to focus on, the 4 games. So bring that experience, to the masses.
You know how little and meaningless it was, but how fun it was when Nintendo would bring stuff to the Florida Mall's Best Buy.
Yep.
And how much fun it was to go there. We got the championship belt there.
We did.
Just little stickers, little giveaways, 5% off anything on the table. And it was such it was one guy and like a little card table with like a Nintendo shirt. But it was neat because it was like it was happening in the moment. They did it at the mall too.
Or the holiday experience that they've done,
that was
so you can
much
try
fun.
out games.
You're right. I think that would go a long way, especially since PlayStation doesn't have a store like Microsoft does.
Yep.
Where you could say, hey, look, like this is welcome to PlayStation Land for the next couple hours. Leave your sorrows at the door.
Yep.
And come on in and play some games.
Because
I agree. That would be really cool.
Even when they did have the Sony stores,
they didn't.
PlayStation
was an afterthought.
Yeah.
It really was. It was in the back corner. We might have one. We went to Best Buy. They were supposed to have some partnership where they were going to have like, was it Knack or something? They had a game and they're like, hey, we're bringing a PlayStation with a special disc for like a demo of a game. Yeah. We went to Best Buy and they're like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And they didn't have it.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh. I'm with you. Okay. Well, so I think there's a lot of so I guess the takeaway is as good as PlayStation is, they can do better.
There's always room for improvement.
Unless you're me on Halo 5, and that's perfection.
Of course.
I don't miss.
Of course.
Of course. Is there anything else you would like to say to the adoring fans before we put an axe, the Leviathan axe, in this podcast video / whatever, and then hold down triangle and bring it back? Is there anything you want to say to anybody?
I'm really excited for the PlayStation press conference.
Okay.
Again, to me, if they do the same thing that they did the last 2 years, I will be very happy.
I agree. I am cautiously. I still maintain my hopes are not as high as they have been. I don't expect amazing things from this. I just hope, because I want to see Sony do well, and I feel like they've done such an amazing job to really play to their fan base and really make up for PlayStation 3 and really stick it into Xbox for the whole Xbox One Connect debacle. I feel like from the beginning to now, they've always been good to the fans. And I just hope that they can take that that drive, being 2 times ahead in the lead on console sales, the definitive place to play. I really hope that they can keep that momentum going. Even though they have superior hardware to the X.
Bring me more games.
And it's the same thing with Xbox.
Bring me more games.
I hope that they can keep that goodwill alive. I hope they don't rest on their laurels. I hope we don't see the end of the PlayStation 4 the way we saw the PlayStation 3 announcement where they're selling it for like $800 and it just falls flat.
So
I don't want to see that. I want to see them just own it from A to Z.
So look, we all know PlayStation's hardware is not as good as the Xbox hardware.
The Xbox One X is the best hardware I've ever.
So we have to keep a competitive edge for Sony.
Right.
Competitive edge is games.
I agree.
That's where it is. And Sony so far has owned that and has taken that mentality to heart. So
we'll see.
Keep it going. Bring me more games, more.
So we'll wrap this up with a couple last things. A lot of people always say they like having you on. Are you interested in doing a Nintendo look ahead when you get back from your trip with me?
I am interested in doing a Nintendo look ahead.
Okay, you heard it here. Because that's what the next question that they're going to ask. I know, I'm just trying to think of specific people who always comment. H. Brandt always says essays of stuff. Very, very enlightening JRPG stuff. Is there any JRPG news that you're excited for? Or you have no idea? You're just going to let him talk, or her. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I'm not kidding you. It's like, I've never seen somebody write so. It's fascinating. It's all very
I am excited.
Revelation.
I'm excited to see what they comment on.
The last 2 shout-outs. Ben is in Australia, but he's watching. Should Ben get a PlayStation or an Xbox?
It depends. Does he want superior hardware or does he want to play games?
Oh, my God. Have you always been such a PlayStation shill? And last question. Final question. In the theater, are you going to sit next to me or next to Brent?
Neither. I want to actually watch the press conference, not listen to these 2 bozos yap.
There you have it. All right. I've given out the shout-outs to the people that, I'm not going to say matter the most, but the ones that continuously comment. So, with that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining me again on this adventure, a little over 43 minutes. We'll have to wait and see what PlayStation brings. Hopefully it's good things. As always, want to thank you guys so much for watching. We're at 809 subscribers. So if you made it this far, you need to join the army. Help me get back to 1,000 so we can start monetizing.
So we can actually be YouTube.
Smelling those nickels. That's what I say. Give me them nickels. Because I make, a couple bucks a month. It's not bad. It helps. Every little bit helps. If you find a penny on the ground, you would pick it up. And
it's certainly not a full-time job.
I want my share of that YouTube gold. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming on. And until next time, we will see you guys on the other side.